Hello and welcome to episode number 2 of the Engineer My Future podcast. I am your host, Alex Nadaprita, and today is the very first ever guest episode. I'm sitting down with Sepehr Khosravi, who is an AI expert focused on teaching people how to integrate AI tools into their own workflow. That way they can increase their productivity and ultimately drive more results, increase their outputs in whatever it is that they are currently pursuing. His main interest resides in teaching people how to use tools to go from no-code experience to actually building their own software, launching an app, and creating their own startup in just a few weeks. Sepehr's knowledge of AI is truly outstanding, and I think he has a really good understanding and grasp on where it currently stands, what the future holds, and where we should be implementing it and integrating it into our own lives. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. I think it's going to be something super valuable. And so, Sepehr, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Alex. I'm excited to be the first guest on this one, and we'll look at it when it's as big as Joe Rogan's podcast.
It'll be a good time. Cool. So just kind of getting into this for the people who have not seen your stuff, could you give me just a general, 20, 30,000 foot overview of who you are, what you do, where you came from? I mean, you have some pretty crazy upbringing, starting in, selling massive teddy bears all the way to AI. So how does somebody go through that process?
Yeah, I'll give a very high level short description, I guess. I went to community college. I dropped out of community college for a while. My family used to sell teddy bears. We used to have one of the biggest giant teddy bear brands in the country. We were top 5,000 fastest growing companies in America 2 years back to back. And then it started to go downhill. So I dropped out to help out with that. And then I went back to college, went to UC Berkeley, studied data science, graduated from there. So now I do machine learning at Coinbase. I also continue to teach at Berkeley, where I teach entrepreneurs basically how to use AI to launch startups or businesses or whatnot. And I also run a program called AI Squads, where we teach, it's mainly for high schoolers, but we teach people of all ages how to use AI tools. Because that's like where the future is going. And like, I'm really passionate about education. What I want to do is be in education full time, build schools. So that's like the long-term goal I have for my life.
So what is it? Because giant teddy bears to AI is such a massive leap. What is it that sort of pushed you in that direction of, wanting to pursue AI?
Yeah. Good question. I guess I actually wanted to study therapy initially. And then my dad kind of told me if I studied that, like I would make no money and he would beat me. So like that kind of went away. But yeah, I guess I had to drop out because the teddy bear business is now bankrupt, but that's why I initially dropped out, to go help with that business. And when that happened and I decided I wanted to go to school after, I was kind of thinking, do I go for a business degree, which is kind of like what I like a little bit more, or education? But like tech is so important. And I felt like I already gained a lot of those skills from dropping out. So I didn't want to go into a business degree. I decided to pick up a data science major. And yeah, just little by little, AI seemed the place to be. So I'm not a big AI guy. I'm a big do whatever it takes to like maximize your life type of thing. And AI right now is that. So that's why I ended up in this field.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think the big thing for me when I look at kind of why I went into engineering and what I see with a lot of people is I believe it's much easier to go and acquire those soft skills, if you're kind of wanting to. But building those technical skills, I mean, that's the point of going to college and getting those degrees.
Yeah. 100% makes sense.
So let's say you're talking to somebody who doesn't really know anything about AI, which, is pretty few and far between at this point, but like someone who doesn't know anything about it. And honestly, they're maybe even a little scared of it. They're quite frankly terrified of AI. What would you tell that person?
Yeah, I think we hear more and more AI and people are scared of it. People are always scared of tech and coding. But as AI advances, it's not that it gets harder, it actually gets easier. The biggest unlock of AI is now that people who aren't technical, haven't touched anything in their lives, can now start building things. So those are the people who are almost benefiting the most. So if you're out there, you know nothing about it, just pick up a couple of these tools and get hands-on with it and start playing with it. Like that is the best way to learn and you'll figure it out. It's easier than you can think.
Do you think there's any reason for people to be afraid of AI or anything? Because that seems to be a major talking point at this time.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's just a tool, right? So somebody can use a knife to cook food or they can use it to attack people. So it's like the same thing. If people with the wrong intentions have AI, it can be used for a lot of bad. But that's alongside like anything in the world, right? But it bites. So like some people think AI is going to take over the world, like become Terminator, build its own personality, that type of thing. At the end of the day, all AI lives on like a piece of hardware on a box. If you pull the electricity on it, it's dead. So like that is never really going to happen.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think the thing for me that I look at is
I don't really view it as like it's going to be humans versus AI and the robots are going to take over. I think it's humans versus humans who know how to use AI. And ultimately, it's just like the more we can implement this stuff into our life, the better. And it seems to me like sort of your viewpoint is like AI is not going to take all of our jobs. It's just going to open up more opportunities for the people who actually are learning how to use it. Where do you see that sort of playing out over the next 5 or 10 years or so?
Yeah, I think for people like listening to this podcast right now in like 2026, you have a massive advantage because there's so many people who aren't utilizing these AI tools. Like, I work in the tech field. So I recently did a talk with a bunch of senior and staff software engineers. These are like the top of the top tech people. And like 70 to 80% of them are still really behind on AI tools and not using them. So, but like there's so much advantage so that even if you're not technical and you start using these, like this there's this gap in time. Like in 3 years, everybody's going to be on top of these tools. Right now, not everybody's on top of these tools. So you can break into different fields. You can promote in your job or start your own businesses. Like there's never been more opportunity than right now.
What are some of the tools that you think we should be aware of? Because I think everybody's like, okay, ChatGPT, great.
Yeah.
What are some of these things that maybe people aren't aware of, or, just with standard chatbots and GPT and Claude and that type of stuff that people aren't fully utilizing to their full extent?
Yeah. I mean, there's tiers of different tools I would use depending on how experienced you are and what field that you're in. But I think the number one thing to keep in mind is actually like 95% of AI implementations in businesses are failing. MIT recently came out with a study sharing this. And the reason is people hear AI, want to use AI, so they take AI and like plug it into places it doesn't belong. First thing, like I wouldn't focus on using an AI tool. I would try to find like problems or things that you need to solve, whether it's in your own life, your company, a business you want to start. And then from there, backtrack, like, can AI be a tool to help me in this, right? That's the way you use it in the right method. Now, I can mention a couple of tools that typically end up being good solutions for general problems, but you always want to start with the problem. If you're completely new and haven't used any of these tools before, I would recommend starting with something like Lovable or Bolt. These are tools that allow you to make software, basically. You can make websites, and it's super easy. It's just like you chatting with it in plain English. You press a button, the website gets published. So if you're non-technical, never have used the tool before, I would just start playing around with that. If you're a bit more technical and you're up for a challenge, I think Claude Code is something that's really good. So everybody talks about ChatGPT just because it was the first. Claude is a lot better than ChatGPT. So in general, try the Claude chatbot. It's a lot smarter. But then Claude Code is really amazing. It can plug into like Slack, your Google Docs, your Notion, everything. And it's very helpful. It connects to all these pieces, makes you documents, and kind of connects all your knowledge bases together.
Interesting. So what is it that makes you say something like Claude is a more effective or smarter tool than something like ChatGPT?
Yeah, so there's a lot of benchmarks that they do out there on how smart these tools are. And to be fair, it changes. Like we're recording this right now in January, maybe in March, it's different. But over the past 2 years, Claude tends to be in the lead most of the time. And their new model, Opus 4.5, it beats everybody on the benchmarks, and then also like the general just sentiment of people who use it can tell like this tool is just so much better than the previous ones.
I feel like for me, I've always found that ChatGPT is just so much of a yes man, especially when trying to do more technical stuff. I mean, back when I was in grad school doing my chemie stuff, I would try to implement ChatGPT, and I would compare it to like bowling with bumpers, and I needed to understand the confines of the problem that I was trying to go through and just keep on hitting that bowling ball back into the middle of the lane so that way I could finally get a strike. But then I feel like I use Claude, and it's just much more, I don't know, concise in its answers. It makes more sense, and it kind of has its mind made up. I can't change Claude's mind immediately. Is that something that you can speak on as to kind of why that is the case with one model versus the other?
Yeah, I mean, the specific ways I won't know, but I mean, part of it is they're training it on different pieces of data. So Claude might be using different data it's training itself on rather than ChatGPT. And then they have guardrails built in themselves as well, which can like sway the model in going in different directions. And yeah, I agree. One of it is like Claude hallucinates less, agrees with you less, will push back if you're wrong on something. I think another thing it's really great at that's underrated is when it solves something, it's really good at also being a teacher and explaining how it solved it compared to the other LLMs. I think the explanations to its solutions it gives are pretty top class.
How much of that do you think is the AI, and then how much is just like the user or the prompt that they're feeding it though?
Yeah, it's definitely a mix. The prompting is super important, and the model itself is super important too. I mean, a lot of people talk about prompt engineering. I actually think prompt engineering becomes decreasingly important. It's actually context engineering that I think is important. Like the further we get, you can tell in your prompt, hey, act as a software marketer if you're trying to solve a marketing problem. I think that starts to become less important as these models refine your prompts themselves on their backend. But what's really important is context. Like if you wanted to market your product, if I wanted to market this podcast, if I'm not giving it information of what this podcast is about, like it's for engineers, it's for people who want to improve their life, build systems, it won't know that. And so like how can it help you? You need to treat it as if it's like a junior intern working for you. All that same context you would give that intern, you need to give to the AI. And when you do, then it comes up with really good solutions.
Breaking that down tactically speaking for somebody wanting to make an AI prompt, what are sort of the key things that you're looking for in, like, let's say it's like, okay, I want to go market my business.
Yeah. This is a good question. I actually, for the regular person who's just chatting with their chatbot, the number one thing I recommend, again, is context. I don't really think, sure, if you followed a certain format, maybe put in a couple of extra tips and tricks, you could get it to go from like 90% to 100%. But most people don't even like care about that 10%. It's more like I want to put something in, get something out. So I would just say share content. And what I like to do is turn on the auto dictation that Mac has, or there's a tool called Whisper out there where you can just talk to your podcast, or sorry, to your chatbot, and we talk at like 250 words per minute, but we type at 100 words per minute. So it makes it a lot easier. You can give it a bunch of context, just chat with it, give it all there, and then let it come up with a response.
Yeah, it's huge. Once I started doing that, just the rate of efficiency that you can blast through prompts and then iterate on it over and over and over is pretty remarkable, in my opinion. Yeah, for sure. 100%. Are there other sort of tricks like that you've found or that you've been using recently?
Another one that I like, there's a tool called Cursor, and there's other tools out there as well. But Cursor is mainly for coding, but it also has a feature where you can turn it on to talk with multiple chatbots at the same time. So I will ask it a prompt, and then ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini will all at the same time give me a response, and I can kind of evaluate between the three what I like the most. So if I'm doing some very general brainstorming or like some complex task where I want a lot of different opinions because it's a very important decision, I'll use that so I can get the perspective from all the different models, and then maybe one of them really like hit home.
Do you feel like in that scenario, like as we were talking earlier, Claude tends to outperform the other ones, or is it kind of mix and match?
Yeah, I think in general, all these models are so good that they're all like about the same, right? But I think Claude is doing better than the rest. But sometimes when it's like more creative tasks, like I want to come up with a company name or something like that.
Right.
You just want variation and creativity. So any of them might be good. It's just like depends what ends up hitting home.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. What does sort of your general workflow look like then, using all these AI tools and then just kind of implementing that into what you're doing with AI squads and then just all the other stuff that you're working on?
Yeah. I guess, well, I'll start with work. I'm a machine learning engineer. At work, I'm using Cursor and Claude Code. Those are like the top two tools that engineers are using. I think, so Claude Code is basically using Claude, but it has like a layer of thinking added on top where it's more expensive, but it will go a lot deeper into solving problems. So if you have some insane, difficult problem you need to solve, Claude Code is the way to go. And then Cursor is like 90% of Claude Code. It's quicker. I typically use Cursor for most things, but for the really hard things, Claude Code. And then in my personal life, like UC Berkeley teaching and AI squads is a lot of what I do. So I definitely use AI for that. For example, I might be teaching a topic and I want to give an analogy to make it simpler for people to understand. I'll ask it, hey, here's this complex topic. What is a good real world analogy to come up with? But for me personally, like teaching still, I'm doing a lot of that like hands-on just because like I like that feel. I feel AI is great, but it's also like people don't like AI slop. We don't want to go to the point. If people can tell you made something using AI immediately, I feel like it devalues it because people are like, he didn't put a lot of effort into this, right? So you want to use it in the correct ways and not shove it. Like, for example, if I'm reading an article now and I see a bunch of dashes in there, immediately I'm like, this person didn't put effort. On the other hand, like if I see people misspelling something, I'm almost like turned on. I'm like, I want to read.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I think about it. So for my teaching material, which I like take super seriously, I try to not use a lot of AI just like for brainstorming and things like that. But the slides, I'm still making hands-on. there are a lot of great tools out there. Like a lot of people are using Gamma.app or like Kimi for creating slides. And I've tried those, and maybe it's 90% as good as what I'm creating. But again, if you want to like really differentiate and stand out, I think a lot of stuff you still can be doing manually to some extent.
Yeah, for sure. Dude, the M dash is the immediate, like, this was made using ChatGPT. Is there a concern with people becoming too reliant on AI? But the other thing that I guess has crossed my mind is if we have all these kids who are like 2nd through 8th grade learning how to write essentially through AI, that everybody's writing is just basically going to become AI writing.
Yeah. No, this is a good question. I actually, regarding the M dashes, it's funny. I have a couple of friends who like have sent me articles, and I tell them, hey, don't write it with AI because I see the dashes, and they're like, no, I used dashes before ChatGPT. Like this wasn't ChatGPT. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't care. Just take it out. You shouldn't use it anymore because I think it's AI. People will if they look at it. But in terms of like, I guess you're also talking about like skills deteriorating because we're getting over reliant on AI. And I think, yeah, it's fair. Like that definitely will happen. And a lot of people are scared of that. I'm on a less popular camp where I believe if a certain skill starts to deteriorate, it's probably because that skill has become less valuable. So sure, like we can spend time not writing AI essays, but at the same time, like when a calculator came out, maybe mental math becomes less important, right? And I'm more of the mindset that we just need to adapt. Maybe intelligence isn't the most important thing in our world anymore. Right now, I still think it is, but at some point, maybe it really isn't. Maybe every decision we make, it's better if an AI makes that decision for us than we do, right? And I don't see that coming anytime soon, but I'm very about like adapting to the tools that are out there and figuring out what skills really are the most valuable and investing your time into that.
So what, I guess, assuming that does take place, where do you sort of see that placing us? Like what skills do you think will become more valuable in the market as AI sort of takes off that mental workload of just crunching numbers all day long?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's hard. I don't really know. I mean, I guess two of the bets that I would make, or one of the bets I would make is content. I think not even like community and content, I guess. AI does a great job at like therapy. A lot of people use it for therapy, but still like you need friends and like people to hang out with and like feel authenticity from. And I think people will crave that even more and more as AI starts to spread. So yeah, that's one of the big bets of directions I would go in. Another one is like physical hardware stuff. I think that's one where AI is still further away from touching. Software, it produces more easily. Hardware, it's still not there where the hands are working well and it can create stuff. So those are two careers that I think it would take longer for AI to break into.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I feel like before this sort of AI boom, the narrative was like AI is going to take all of the physical jobs. You're going to have a robot that's doing everything. But thankfully, all of our creative, like mental load jobs are going to be fine. And I feel like the exact opposite thing has actually taken place.
Yeah, it's funny. Like all the fun stuff AI does better than us, and all the boring stuff whenever start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As an interesting question kind of on that, because right now it's such a heated topic on like AI coming into movies or AI coming into music and all those sort of creative endeavors. Where do you stand on that as somebody who approaches AI like from a very pro AI technical field, but at the same time, obviously you're a very creative person, you're doing your content and just all the stuff that you're doing with AI squads and everything else?
Yeah, I kind of just see it as whether you like it or not. Like, let's say you're making music, whether you like it or not, if you're great, people are going to start using AI to like clone your voice and producing music. And there can be all the laws out there to prevent it. But like, if I wanted to find any movie online right now, I can just pirate it. Same thing with the music. Like, it's going to come. So the best way is just to adapt to it. Like, you can fight it as much as you want, but at the end of the day, like, it's so much work. One person can make it their life mission to stop AI cloning their, but it's just like not worth it. You know, maybe for some people it is, but I'm more of in the camp of just like adapt to what's happening and capitalize on that.
For sure. Do you feel like there's stuff then where, because you and I are in straight up technical engineering land all the time, but for somebody who's maybe not, what are some ways that you think they can start to implement AI into their life? And maybe they are like a musician or an artist or whatever. They're like, okay, I understand that I should use this tool, but at the same time, like I'm not coding. I have no idea what Python is. I don't understand MATLAB. What should I do with it?
Yeah. It's a great question. I would start with like maybe finding even like a community or like some classes you can take to get you into it a little bit. And then also just same thing I said as before, like figuring out what problems you have in your life and then searching out if there's any tools out there that can help you with it. And I think in any career you're in, I would advise everybody right now to become like the AI expert within that career. It's just not that hard to do, and there's so much benefit that can come from it.
I mean, I think that it's going to be a big differentiator in the next couple years or so. How do you feel like that sort of comes together with traditional schooling, right? Because right now it seems like there's a lot that you can do just online through YouTube or simply just by getting exposure to different tools. But when it comes to like traditional education, how do you feel like colleges or high schools or all these different things do in terms of just teaching these tools to people?
So I think there's two main problems that are happening right now. One is, even in the past, whatever jobs we were training kids for, by the time they graduated, like 50% of those jobs are gone because the industry has changed. Now with AI, that's happening even faster. Where like 90% of the jobs that you train people for might be gone. And education systems are just slow. If they want to update some curriculum, they want to add something, it takes them like 2 years to do it. So it just can't keep up with the pace of AI, and the stuff we end up teaching is a little bit outdated. And then the second part is classrooms look the same as they did like 300 years ago. Nothing has changed about them. Yet content and ADHD and like consumption has completely changed, right? It's all TikTok, it's all fast moving paced, it's all interactive. So like you can't keep a kid's attention in class anymore with a teacher lecturing up there. You need to switch it up in some way to get capture their attention, or they're just not going to retain anything. So yeah, I mean, that's like what I'm really passionate about. Like I really want to try to build schools again from scratch and reimagine how they really should be.
Do you feel then like, because that then brings in like this interesting dilemma, because you obviously went to college and then also are teaching at a college, and then, you know, I got my master's degree. Where do you feel like traditional education fits in then, right? Because you're there, you're teaching, but at the same time, it's like, well, typically speaking, is a college degree even worth it at this point?
Yeah, that's a great question. I will say, like, although I think our education system has a ton of problems, I'm not anti-college at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think any skill you want to learn, you're better off almost learning it on YouTube or through online courses than you are in your college courses, because especially if you go to like Berkeley, there's like 2,000 people in some classes with one professor, right? The quality of content isn't amazing at the colleges. What's really amazing about colleges is you get alongside a group of other people where you're all dedicated to the same mission. You can network, you can earn internships, you can network with professors. That's the value that college brings, and that's still not replaceable by any other career paths, I think, typically. Some people find paths where it's better for them to not go to college, but I think for the average person, college still makes sense. But it's also important that outside of college, you're really focusing on upskilling yourself.
You kind of have already touched on it already as we kind of break into what you're doing with AI squads. But right now, there's obviously so many different, I don't know, call it trendy AI businesses. It's like, oh, I'm going to go start an AI agency, or I'm going to go and build an app and pitch it to these businesses. Why AI education? Why AI squads?
Yeah, I guess I've always been super passionate about education. This is AI squads, and I've capitalized on the word AI and the trend of AI. But what I'm really focused on is changing education completely. So like my Trojan horse, they call it, is AI. People come in because they want to learn AI, and we have the most up-to-date AI tools. But I think there's like a lot of more important skills out there as well that are people need to learn that we're adding on. Like, for example, principle first thinking, like coming up with problems first to solve. How do you market? How do you do social media? All of these things. So we've started with an AI camp, but we're really building out all these other pieces that I think are even more important than that when this AI wave passes.
And I will say, you know, having gone through in the last cohort and getting, you know, the ability to be a part of that, it's a really cool program. And I'm just a big fan of what you're doing with everything. Yeah, it's super cool.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. That means a lot.
Yeah, that's a great time. What is it? Because I feel like, I mean, you're going into the third cohort, correct?
Yes. We have our third cohort starting in February.
Pretty quickly, I feel like it went from an idea to, holy cow, we have this thing. We have all these students who are, you know, pounding down the doors, let us into AI squads. What is it that kind of led to that meteoric rise?
Yeah. I mean, for the past year, I've taken maybe like a couple days off, right? So it has been a lot of work. It's just me every single day, daytime job, and then working on AI squads, right? And I think two things like led to our success. One is media. There's so many people I see building products, spending months building, and they just never get it out to their audience. Nobody knows about it. They build this great product and nobody knows. In today's world, especially as it becomes easier to build product because software becomes so much cheaper because AI can produce it, your audience is super important. And like that's one realization I made. So before I even made AI squads, I got on TikTok, I started streaming every night, and I put up a website for AI squads for people to sign up, but I had nothing built on the back end. I was confident I could build something great on the back end because I've already done it at Berkeley. But first I wanted to gauge, will people even sign up for this? So I launched a program, did these TikTok streams and everything, and released the program at like $900. So $895 per seat. And in a month, we got 20 people to sign up for it. So that's like roughly $20,000, right? And then I had a whole change of heart, didn't end up making it paid. But that gave me the validation of, okay, people are willing to pay $1,000 for this program. So this is something out there that people want. And then from there, it was about building a great product. So, I mean, there's so many different factors that goes into it, but I guess at the end of the day, it was like attention to detail. Every single piece of the program, I tried to make like 100% as good as we can possibly make it, and something like we'd be really proud of sharing with people. And that's what's really helped. Like, so we've done collaborations, we've done all these streams and whatnot. We had Simon Squibb, Sabrina Romanov, some like really big influencers share about us. Yet at the end of the day, 40% of our audience comes through friends and family referral. So people just end up going through the program, loving it so much, and telling other people about it. And that's like free marketing at the end of the day, right? So I think this has been true with product for a long time, but like your product really matters. At the end of the day, how good your product is gonna decide its ultimate success. And we see that with like Cluely. Like Cluely did all this marketing, got the word out there. Like everybody knows about this tool called Cluely. But their product wasn't that great, and it seems like it's kind of falling off now. So yeah, marketing is super important, but you got to have the product too at the end of the day.
Is there a certain part of AI squads that you are particularly proud of, it you think really sets it apart from other things?
Yeah, I think it's honestly a lot of things that I like about it, but I think the number one piece is we go into every lecture letting everybody know like this education you can find online, you can learn it through ChatGPT. It doesn't really matter. The most important thing in your life is probably your network. And we try to really cultivate that through the program of meeting other people, staying accountable with each other, and hopefully forming relationships that last just beyond the program. So that's number one. And then number two is we do teach the most up-to-date AI education. So like while you could find fragmented piece of information across the internet about these tools that are coming out, there's not many pieces of curriculum that are like put together week-long programs that are teaching the most up-to-date tools. If you sign up for like a kid code camp, you're definitely learning outdated stuff today, because my brother's 14, he's going through them and I've seen them. It's stuff that he's never going to use, right? So I think those are two of our top biggest differentiators. And then the third one is we try to make it fun. We really believe like learning should be fun. You shouldn't feel like you're forced to do homework or something like that. So everybody who comes in picks something that they're already passionate about, and we just use AI as a tool to amplify that. And in that process, they learn a lot. So yeah, everybody picks a project. Like somebody likes golf, they build an AI golf app, kind of launch that. So it's fun. You learn a lot about AI in the process.
What are you doing to sort of stay on top of these things? Because there's just so much stuff all the time. New tools, all of a sudden there's a new model for, the same tool. I mean, are you on newsletters? Are you just like completely obsessed with the thing? What is it that allows you to sort of stay on the front of what is going on in AI land?
Yeah. I think it's just my life. So I'm very tapped into everybody's social medias, Twitter, TikTok. I have my own like bot that is tapped into all of the biggest tools that I know. So as soon as they release something, I get a text notification about the newest thing that came out. So yeah, but like you don't need to do what I'm doing. I'm doing that because it's my job to provide to the people we're teaching the most important stuff. So I have to consume everything, kind of filter out what works, what doesn't, and then feed it back out. But for a typical consumer, it's too much noise. I wouldn't recommend doing what I'm doing. Just follow a couple of reputable people online, pick a couple of tools, and just start from there. You don't need to know every single tool out there.
That makes sense. There's some then, I mean, we kind of have already been touching on it, but like, let's say that you're just like, okay, what should I focus on if I have one thing? Or even like, let's just say I know nothing about AI, but over the next 12 months in 2026, I want to learn as much as I can about it. Yeah. What do you think that person should be doing, or where should they be putting their focus, their efforts, time, money into?
That's a great question. I mean, this isn't a plug, but like I genuinely think AI squads, because like that's a problem I'm trying to solve for people. But if you don't want to sign up for something or you don't have the time, I think just I would start with like Lovable or Bolt, test out Claude, and then again just pick problems in your life and see if AI can solve it. That's like the beginner steps I would take.
I mean, I think, and like we've been saying, the stuff that you guys are doing over at AI Squads is really cutting edge stuff. It's super cool, and the projects are unbelievable. I mean, it's borderline frightening when you see what an 11-year-old comes up with. It's insane. I mean, it makes me be like, dang, we got to up our game.
Yeah, 100%.
It's crazy.
One piece I really like about it is, so we have like grandparents in the class and we have 11-year-olds, 7-year-olds. And it's really cool because I think we see the 70-year-olds gaining a lot of inspiration from the younger people and what they're building. And then the younger people gaining a lot of mentorship from the older people and like the questions they ask and the mentorships they share. So yeah, that's one thing that I think really stands out. And also I want to say, like, for anybody watching this, I'm not like trying to promote this because we make money off of it. It's free. So if you guys want to join, like, we don't charge for anything in our program.
What is it that led to that? I mean, it's amazing that that's the case, but you know, why make it free when you have so many people coming in and you do have, you know, quite frankly, an awesome opportunity to monetize? What is the reasoning behind, like, let's just make this free and give it all away to everybody?
Yeah. So I will say it might not stay free forever. It is free right now. So get in while you can. But the main reason was, so initially I launched it paid, made the 20,000, and then there's this YouTuber called Simon Squibb, and he has a following of 20 million people, right? So maybe I can share this story, but I really thought it would be amazing if he could share AI squads with his audience because he's all about reforming education. So I booked a flight to London, tried to go find this guy. Only problem is, like, he didn't know who I am. I didn't know where he lives. Like, just a complete shot in the dark. I tried to go find this man in London, which has like 9 million people. Somehow ended up finding him. And he was really on board with the project, wanted to share it with his audience, but he sat down with me for an hour, like, gave me a lot of advice. And one thing he shared is, like, a lot of people who need this education, like, won't be able to afford it. And also, like, when you go online and start charging for courses, people just kind of think you're trying to get their money and, like, grift them. So because of, like, a mix of those two reasons, I thought, okay, I'll try making it free. And I launched it free, and the first cohort went really well. And I got messages from a couple of people in the cohort saying, like, they're going through so much in their life and, like, they can't afford, wouldn't have been able to afford this, but it's, like, really made an impact on them. And, like, that really resonated with me too. So I, like, felt bad switching it over to paid. Now, that being said, it's really hard for us to grow because it's just me building this program right now, and we don't have any much funds. So we might switch it to, like, a paid program with a lot of scholarships for people who can't afford it or whatnot. But that's, like, what led to me making it free. All the advice I got from outside of Simon Squibb, people are telling me to make it paid. Mark Cuban, I reached out to Mark Cuban. He got back to me. He even said, switch this to paid. Don't keep it free. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. But that's kind of the reasoning that I've made it free for now. And I would love to continue to make it free, but it only happens at a mass scale. Like, if we have hundreds of thousands of people, maybe we can make enough sponsorship money to keep it free. Otherwise, probably have to switch to a paid model at some point.
So just so I can wrap my brain around it, how is it? Because you somehow end up on the radar of all these random high-level entrepreneurs. I mean, I've seen you, like, showed up at Ty Lopez's house. You ended up flying all the way to London to find Simon Squibb. You were somehow in the inbox of Mark Cuban. Like, how you have some very unconventional marketing tactics, we'll say that. How is it that you go about getting these opportunities and doing these things? Because they're crazy.
Yeah, I guess, honestly, it's a little bit of stupidity. Like, I don't think anybody in their right mind would fly to London to try to find Simon. That's, like, the fun answer. I think another part of it is, like, calculated risks. Like, people say gambling is bad. I like to gamble, right? Not just for fun sometimes, right? And I think gambling at a casino is bad. You're going to lose, right? But in life, that's not the same thing. So people learn gambling is bad because they compare it to a casino, but that's not like that. If there was a casino where you could go into and you have a 51% chance of winning, that's a good gamble. Or if you have a casino you go into and you can put $1, but you have a 1 in 100 chance of winning $10,000, that's a good gamble. Even though it's 1%, it's worth it, right? So I try to take some gambles in similar ways. And right now I'm taking a gamble on, like, content and trying to meet people that can help us blow this up. So yeah, maybe the chance of meeting Simon was 1 in 100,000. But like the gains of it were pretty high if it happens. Now, that one, I will say it wasn't a good gamble. I think the chances were too low for me to take that one. But other ones that I've made have been probably like decent gambles to me.
Do you have a story of one that like you're like, this is the one, this is the best one, and it just totally catastrophic plane crash?
Yeah, I guess the one that hasn't worked out for us, we really wanted to team up with Lovable, and I spent a lot of time like trying to reach out to other people, and it hasn't worked out so far. Hopefully at some point it does. And then the biggest ones, like I'd love to collaborate with like Alex Hormozi or Mr. Beast. Those are like my top two that I want to reach at some point, but I know those people are also like huge. So maybe in a couple of years when we have some more traction.
I mean, if you got Mark Cuban talking to you, there's a chance.
Maybe fingers crossed. We'll see. Maybe we go to Shark Tank or something.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess with that, where do you see AI squads going in the next 10 years? Because right now, I mean, it's honestly very impressive what you've done over the past. I mean, how long has it been? A year?
A little under a year, yeah.
Yeah, which is insane. Just the speed at which you've grown this thing is awesome. But now, like over 10 years, I mean, where do you see that? Are you just like going to Mars because of the speed at which you're growing, or where are you going with it?
Thank you. No, I mean, there's like a short term and a long term. In the short term, making this my full time, because I don't know how long I can keep doing this as my part time and support the growth that we're having. So figuring out how the funding situation goes to make that happen, because right now, like my family recently went through bankruptcy. So like, yeah. So there's a lot of financial constraints that are going on in my personal life to make this happen. But then in the long term, it's two things. It's one, I want to implement with school systems, help upskill educators so they can be teaching their kids within high schools and colleges these tools. And then also having a community. So our name was actually originally AI Scouts. So similar to how people do the Boy Scouts alongside college, we kind of wanted to do the AI. We just got a cease and desist letter that I have right over there the other week from the Boy Scouts. So we're switching our name to AI Squads. But I want to build it like that, where people can do high school alongside of it, also join AI squads and learn these tools. But then my like 15-year goal is like, my goal is by the time I have a kid and he's making the decision of whether he wants to go to high school or college or not, we have some institution that we've set up that can serve as a potential alternative that he has a choice to make if he wants to go to. So that's my end goal. Like I want to build a campus.
I mean, that's awesome. That's amazing to hear. And it's so cool that you're saying that, like for your future family to want to set them up with that, I think is really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully it happens in 15 years. We'll see.
So the Boy Scouts, what's going on there?
Yeah, I guess. So we filed a trademark for AI Scouts. I thought we're going to get it. And then the Girl Scouts kind of contested it, but didn't put in anything official. But then recently got this letter from the Boy Scouts saying cease and desist. So like, I didn't think it would be a problem, because typically when you're filing for a trademark, you can't trademark a word. Like a word in the dictionary, you can't trademark. So I thought we'd get it because it's like Scouts. And part of what we're doing is we're scouting kids to send into internships and companies, right? So it like kind of fits what we're doing. But it turns out the Boy Scouts had a congressional act passed in 1916 that gave them full access to the word Scouts. So we can't use that. So we've swapped to Squads. But I mean, it doesn't. Squad sounds cooler anyways. And we'll boycott Thin Mints.
Are Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts two separate entities, or are they the same thing?
I actually don't know. I think they switched from Boy Scouts to the Scouts.
Yeah.
But I haven't looked too deep into it.
You just got double teamed by both of the scouting organizations.
Yeah, you could phrase it like that. Yeah.
Are you buying Girl Scout cookies this year, or is that just a hard no?
Maybe not this year, but all jokes aside, no, I don't have any problem with the Boy Scout.
No, for sure.
I love what they're doing as well.
Hey, I mean, I think, at the end of the day, like, I'm sure over the next 10 years, like, you're going to do so many awesome things with what you're doing. I mean, it seems like, at least from my time going through the program and seeing just what everybody's coming up with, there are some really amazing projects. And like I said, by young kids, 11, 12, 13 years old, it's really impressive. What are some of the biggest opportunities that you've seen come out of the people that you're teaching and all the students going through AI squads?
I mean, I'll start off with one, like, that most people might want to hear. Like, we had one person go through the 5-week program and start a company that started generating $2,000 monthly recurring revenue from the program. So if you're trying to start a side hustle, a business, it's definitely possible. It's not the general case. Most people won't start making money just after 5 weeks, but you do build the skills where you could eventually do that, right? And then the more important unlock for me is I've seen like middle schoolers or high schoolers go through the program and say like, I didn't realize how capable I am and how much I can give to the world until now. And I think that's the greatest thing, like especially with these AI tools and like in general in society, I kind of think we undersell kids and like how much they can already do, and we put them in this box of like you don't really know much, like you're going through school or whatnot. But I think like people can start doing crazy things at a much younger age than we are currently enabling them to do, and that's my biggest goal.
I feel like, at least with people right now, and not that I'm 45 or anything, but when I look at kids these days, I think the big thing that I really see is like you have two distinct camps in my mind. And you have these kids that are just kind of doing whatever. They're just being kids, which is totally fine. Like you're 13, like you're not expected to do anything. But then you have these kids who understand technology, science, the world, economies, like politics, just everything that's going on. I guess what I'm wondering is, do you have any idea as to what's sort of causing that? Because I feel like it's more pronounced than ever. And I don't know if that's just because of AI or accessibility and ease of access to different information. Where do you sort of see that coming from?
Yeah, no, I think your observation is great. I agree. I think it's accessibility. I think just the internet enables them to not be stuck in school and have access to all these other resources. And some of them just have that innate like self-starter built within them from parents or whatever it is. And they go down that path and end up doing really great things. And I think we'll continue to see more and more of that.
Do you think that's something that these kids are just born with? Like, are they just superhumans when they're born? Or do you think it's something, is it a nature or a nurture type of thing, I guess?
Yeah, this is a good question. I definitely a mix. I think it's a mix of nature and nurture. Like, I don't think anybody can be Elon Musk. I think there definitely is some stuff that we're limited to physically, mentally with how we're born. But I also think like within that, there's a lot that we can do to just maximize our potential. And I think happiness doesn't come. I don't think Elon Musk is necessarily that happy. Not everybody needs to be Elon Musk for the best life. You just want to be the best version of you, and everybody can do that.
Kind of broadening out then and looking at just what you're doing with everything. I mean, how many hours a week are you working at Coinbase right now?
Yeah, at Coinbase, it's like, it depends on the week, but it can go from like 40 to maybe 60 on a heavy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then how much are you teaching?
Teaching, it depends on the semester. So like I have a course coming out in March, which is 5 weeks long. And for me, it typically takes like 10 hours of prep time for one lecture.
Yeah. But I mean, so at that point, like your life is busy, man. You're doing 40 to 60 hours a week at Coinbase. You're doing 10 or 15 hours with teaching, and then you're running AI squads. Actually, practically speaking, like how are you doing it?
Yeah, I just don't do much else. Like where you see me right now is where I sit like for most of my life, and I do not move. Like my bed is right there. This is right here. I have like a couple of weights over here that I'll try to lift like once a week, so my body's like doing okay. And I'll play I'll play basketball like once a week to run around a little bit too. Besides that, I really don't do much of anything else. Like I'm in a relationship, but I'm lucky where the relationship I'm in, she kind of understands what I'm doing as well. And like, she'll just come sit here next to me and she'll do her work and I'll do my work, and maybe we'll eat food together. But my life currently is just fully invested into doing this.
It's just an obsession thing for you.
Yeah. I think it's a mix of things. One is like, definitely part of it is just like the financial situation that my family is currently in. So there's a lot of like pressure for me to like help with that. So that's one side of it where it comes from stress. And then there's another side of it that comes from passion, where like, even if I ended up winning the lottery tomorrow, I would continue doing some similar level of what I'm doing now, maybe with like half a Sunday off or something like that. Because I just love doing it. And I really want to have this impact of building schools one day. And it's like what gets me excited and gets me up out of bed. And yeah, I think that's super important. Like I went to, during the time we went bankrupt and I dropped out of school, I had some like really tough times, and I went to therapy for it and like all this other stuff. And I think the biggest piece of advice that I took away from therapy and like had a really big impact on my life is, for anybody who's like stuck in a 9 to 5 or hating their life or part of their job, just spend, even if it's like 15 minutes a day, like writing down or even thinking about something that really excites you that you want to do with your life. And it can like completely change your mood. Once I like started implementing that, it really changed my life. And like now people look at me and I'm working like 100+ hours. I don't even know what the hours are, but like just constantly working, and they're like, dang, how do you do that? Like, or I would never want to do that. But that's not the case. Like, I enjoy what I do. I'm more excited. If I was just working my 9 to 5 and then taking time off, I would be more burnt out than I am now. And I think that's a piece of burnout that like is misconstrued in society. Like people don't understand that.
How do you, I mean, you kind of already said with just finding ways to journal and really write down, like, what do I see for myself in my life? Where do I want to go? But do you have any tips specifically for people who are kind of feeling lost right now? And maybe they're not even at the point where they're like, I hate my job. It's just, I don't really like what I'm doing. I feel like maybe I'm meant for more. Maybe there's just something else that I would like to do. Do you have any tips for people in that type of a situation?
Just start. Like, that is the biggest thing. I mean, I talked about like planning or thinking about it, but I wouldn't even like worry about that part too much. Thinking about it is good. Just some way to like get yourself going. But I'm not even a big fan of planning. I'm a big fan of start. 90% of people never even start. I don't care if you're doing the best thing. I don't care what your first TikTok video looks like. The most important thing is like you just get something out there, and then data creates direction. So like for my TikTok channel, I had so many times in my life where I wanted to do this, and I put so much planning time into the first video, got an editor, planned like a week-long content, posted it finally, and then it got like 300 views, and I like felt demotivated and stopped. And then 6 months later, I tried the same thing. But like what I finally decided this last time, and what like helped us, I mean, we're not huge, but like 5,000 followers that we've been able to grow, is I said, okay, I'm just going to produce 100 pieces of content and not think about it. And now I did that, and I've gotten to a point where I can look back at the 100 videos and then decide like what direction I want to double down on. But when you're starting from scratch, everybody's like, oh, I want to make this type of thing. It doesn't matter, man. I don't care. Don't even talk to me until like you have 10 pieces of content posted.
I mean, I've seen with my content last year in 2025, I posted over 1,400 pieces of content. I did like 1,450, which is a lot. But then at the same time, I look at these guys who are producing 15,000 pieces of content, and it's like, I haven't even started. I'm not even in the game yet. But I mean, I'll say, like, if you go back and look at something that I made last January, and at that point I had already been making content for, you know, the better half of a year prior, that content sucks compared to the content now. And I'm sure I'm going to look back at the end of 2026. I'm going to watch this podcast. I'm like, man, this sucks. I got to get set back on because this is horrible. And so kind of like you're saying, I mean, it really is just start. And that's so easy to say as people who have started stuff, right? It's like, oh yeah, just start, bro. It's not going to be that hard. But truly, genuinely, at the end of the day, it's like, if you have an idea, just do it. And the big thing that I've heard specifically from content, but really anything, is like, if it sucks, no one's going to know about it. But if it's really good, everyone's going to know about it. And so at the end of the day, I mean, if you're super concerned about what 20 people are going to say, it's just like, whatever, who cares?
Spot on. Like, nobody's even going to see your content to roast you. Stop saying anything about that. Yeah. I'm a big fan of like quantity over quality, which is something that people never say, but because quantity creates quality.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree. And I mean, kind of like we're saying, once I had people that are like, dude, I saw your videos. I'm like, great. I'm glad I'm showing up on your For You page now. I mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to. Have you had much pushback with the stuff that you're doing? I mean, with how much you're working, do you get people that are just like, dude, why are you working so much? Why don't you come do X, Y, and Z? Or has it just been support the whole way?
I think I'm pretty lucky where my audience, for whatever reason, is like a very positive, supportive audience, and I haven't received too much hate, like a little bit here and there, but nothing too big. But you definitely have to prepare yourself for when that comes in to like shield yourself.
For sure. Yeah, it definitely. I mean, I'm kind of in the same position as you. I've been so fortunate, and I basically never have any hate. I mean, we're talking like one comment out of every 1,000 that I get is somebody who's just a sour lemon. But I mean, I just troll them back, and it's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to let one person completely derail your life's mission, it's just like, well, clearly you didn't care about that thing that much, is kind of how I look at it. I mean, if you are where you are, and it's just like AI is my passion, or, you know, teaching people, reforming the education system is my passion, who cares if, you know, dog lover 3692 says, I hate you. It's just like, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. 100%, 100%. I agree with you. When I do receive it, it's just like kind of joke back or even agree with them, you know?
Yeah.
It just kind of goes away.
Sometimes you're like, you're kind of right there. You're on with that one.
Yeah. Like recently on the Simon video, it was pretty funny. One person commented, I talked in the video that people talk at 250 words per minute compared to typing at 100 words per minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then the comment said 250 words per minute question mark. This guy talks at 3,000 words per minute. Like, I can't understand a word he's saying.
Dude, yeah.
You're right. But
that's what I get. Everyone's like, all right, Eminem, slow down, chill out. That's the goal of this podcast is like, all right, this is long form, Alex. I'm going to slow down because I'm not trying to captivate you in 60 seconds. I don't need to rap and do a whole freaking monologue in 2 seconds.
It's fair, but I also think like, so I've even talked to like good speakers and signed up for some speech coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just depends on the audience you're talking to. Like older people prefer that lower pace of speech, but we're coming from the TikTok generation, or maybe we're a little bit older, but people won't listen to you on our platforms if you talk at that pace that like speakers would tell you to talk at. So it's just like, it really depends on who your audience is.
For sure. I mean, that definitely makes sense. I mean, everybody, what is it? Like our attention span is 3 seconds.
Yeah. Something crazy.
And it's horrible. As somebody who is so anti, like, I mean, I make short form, but I'm very anti, like just doom scrolling reels. It's impossible for me to completely escape it. Like no matter how much you hate it, you're just doing it. Like at the end of the day, it just is what it is.
Yeah. It's tough.
So when it comes to, I think that starting is, like we've said, the biggest thing. At the end of the day, like you've already said, 99% of people are just never even going to do whatever it is that their dream is. But let's say it's somebody who has started. I mean, you've been so consistent for so long over this past year, just putting in the hours, putting in the weeks, day in and day out to build all of this stuff. Do you have any tips for just maintaining consistency once you've been going and maybe it's like, maybe you've even seen some results or maybe you haven't, but you're just kind of starting to feel yourself slog?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think like the biggest tip is to get started, as you're saying, but like how do you actually get started and how do you stay consistent once you have started? And I feel this is the other biggest learning I've had recently that I think has enabled me to do so is I would, even if it's delusional to some extent, assume the best and assume positivity. Like the reason you don't want to study for your test is because you think you're going to study for it and then you're going to do bad and realize how much you don't know and ultimately fail the test, right? And that thinking of failing the test is what keeps you away from doing it because that bad feeling. But if you just assume I'm going to kill this test, you will naturally find it easier to start studying. And because you made that assumption actually becomes true. Because you assumed I'm going to do well on my test, you'll actually end up doing better on your test because you studied more for it and procrastinated less. So I used to think being delusionally optimistic is like dumb. I'm a very like logical person. I don't want to do things that are just like dumb and willy-nilly. But I started to realize, no, there is logic in this where if you are positive, it's like correct. It's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that's what I try to do. Like Mel Robbins is a psychologist I listen to. This is where I got that from. And she says, what if it all works out is the phrase that she always thinks. I'm thinking of like putting it back up here on my board because I important.
No, I mean, it's huge. And I mean, coming from the same sort of walk of life from engineer land, it's like, yeah, obviously I would love to just be Mr. Logic all the time and run the numbers and da-da-da-da. At the same time, honestly, being delusional has never really let me down up to this point. And I'm sure it will at some point, eventually we're all going to fly a little too close to the sun. But at the end of the day, just simply being like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. Just super nonchalant about it. I mean, you would be amazed at the things that you can just randomly pull off. I mean, that's how you probably are flying all the way to London and meeting Simon Squibb.
Yeah. 100%. And I think another big one is like, you don't have to fly out to meet Simon Squibb. Enjoy the small wins. Like when I had one person sign up for AI squads, I was so happy, and like everybody should be, even if you're impacting one other person's life out there, that's like a big win. Like you should enjoy that. Don't set your sights at like 1 million subscribers or something like that, and everything up until there is miserable because you're not at 1 million. Enjoy it along the way. Like whatever you're doing, that's awesome.
No, I mean, that's what I tell everybody. And not that I'm a massive creator of any kind, but what I tell anybody who's starting up content, it's like, oh, I only have 100 followers or whatever. I mean, that's 100 people. If they're legit followers who actually are engaging with your stuff, they're in your DMs, they're thanking you. I mean, imagine having one person on the street walk up to you and just being like, dude, thank you so much. You totally changed my outlook on X, Y, and Z. It's massive.
Yeah, yeah. And especially with content, it's like how many creators do you watch that you've never commented on any of their stuff, but you watch them like almost every single day?
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Almost all of them. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's likely a lot of other people who are watching you and like love your stuff. You just don't know about them because they'll never comment, but they're there. You just don't know about them.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is so many people they're gonna pull like on any long form thing. Oh, if you look at my YouTube analytics, only 5% of you are actually subscribed to my channel. So that's why you should subscribe. Sure, true. But when I look at my analytics, I mean, I'll do 1 to 3 million views a month, and I have probably at this point like 37 coming up on 40,000 followers. That's a huge, huge difference. To me, it's like, okay, great. Obviously, yeah, I would love those people to all follow me. That would be amazing if I could have 1 to 3 million followers. At the same time, I'm still impacting them. I'm still getting my message out to them. And even if they are like, all right, cool, this is great, move on with my day, I would like to assume that at least a handful of those couple million people are getting impacted by the message that I'm putting out, the message that you're putting out. I mean, it's a really big thing. And it's amazing just the amount of people that we have the ability to reach nowadays.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I agree. I think everybody should start posting for the most part. Like it's really just worth it because even if you never end up building an audience, I think there's a lot of skills you gain from talking to a camera, coming up with content, and yeah, I think that's just as valuable as the audience that you end up building.
Yeah. I mean, I think the communication skills are everything. That's for me. I mean, as an engineer, it's like, God, so many of us are so terrible at talking to other people. And honestly, if you can just force yourself to sit in front of a camera and yap, you don't even need to post it. Honestly, it's great if you post it. I think you get this immediate feedback loop. And even if no one sees it, you now have this pressure of like, oh, I got to improve my communication skills. But even if nobody ever sees it, you're still going to improve it just by being able to watch back. I mean, athletes watch back tape all the time. All the best basketball players, all the best MMA fighters, all the best everything, they're watching film footage constantly. And then we just assume that magically we're going to be like super verbose conversationalists. And that's just not the case.
100%, 100%. I couldn't agree with you more on this. I went to Berkeley. I studied computer science, but I have most of my friends are better engineers than I am.
Yeah,
Yet
same. That's the reality.
Yeah. And yet, like, I have a higher paying job that I got than them right out of college. I got to teach at Berkeley. And it's not because I'm better than them. They're better than me. I just really put emphasis on like the social skills and like the real life experiences. And I think most people, especially in school right now, like underrate that piece. And you could be so much further in your engineering career just because of your social skills. I'm interviewing software engineers across this week. I don't really even care what their skills are. I just care like, would I want to hop on a call with this person once a week more than anything? And people just underrate how much that really matters.
I mean, I think it's, at the end of the day, it's everything. I don't know if you can throw an exact percentage on it, but I'd say 80% of what matters is just like, are you a cool human?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I mean, technical skills are great, but I feel like those things can be taught.
Yeah.
Like I can tell you where to type, you know, how to click the mouse. I can tell you to do all that stuff, but if you can't talk to me, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Part of the reason I feel like for that is it's like it is socially acceptable to train somebody on their technical skills, but it's not socially acceptable to train somebody on the way they speak. Like, I can't tell you should treat me like this or that. But yeah, so yeah, anyways, it's interesting.
Is there a way you think that we incorporate that? Because I agree. I mean, so much of what I try to push with my content is like, yeah, I work in technical land. Please do not live in technical land ever. Dip your toes in and then immediately leave. Is there a way that you feel like we can build these skills for people?
Yeah, I guess that is part of like what I'm trying to incorporate through our education. And I think a big part of it is like trying to gamify it. For example, like we have a badge releasing. Like I think one big thing is that you don't just follow rules all the time. You should try to break rules or question why things are the way they are. So I'm releasing one badge where it's like a badge where you have to type up a 2,000 word essay about something just like completely dumb. And every time somebody submits it, we're going to reject their submission and tell them it wasn't good enough and make them do it again. And the only way you can actually earn the badge is if you get upset enough to send us an email or something of like, what is the point of this assignment? Right?
This is awesome.
Yeah.
You're just rage baiting 14-year-olds.
Yeah, things like that. But I think like games are a great way to try to teach these skills of like not just assignments. We got to break out of the assignment field.
I think it's just at the end of the day, the standard structure for things that's good. It's a good standard structure.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to leave that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the big thing that I'm constantly telling people is people feel like once I turn 18 or once I graduate high school, when I graduate college or whatever, and I really start my life, now I'm an adult and suddenly my freedom is gone. The freedom that I had when I was a kid, now I'm just living life. I feel like it's the opposite because once you turn 18, now you have big kid freedom, you have free will, you have money, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
There's nothing that needs to confine you to one thing. And you could do something for 3 months, decide you don't like it, and immediately jump ship and go do something else. And I think that's the amazing thing about the life that we live in, especially now, given these AI tools, given social media, given everything that we have access to.
I 100% agree. And I don't know where this comes from. Why that, why it's widely known that like it gets harder after you turn 18 and like get a job and stuff. The other thing is like there's way less context switching. You get one job you have to work 40 hours a week at, and then beyond that you figure out your life. Whereas in high school, college, it's just like so many things you got to manage.
Is there a thing that you feel like has allowed you to kind of integrate that mindset into your life, like managing your full-time job, but then everything else, like, or is it just kind of fallen into place naturally for you?
Yeah, I guess. No, it's just like it's a lot of trial and error. I think the main thing is like passion. Like
Yeah.
you can structure it however much you want, try to be as disciplined as you want, but like a really underrated part is just making it fun for yourself. And as the more fun you make it for yourself, the more likely you are to do more of it and succeed at it. And that's what I try to do. I get bogged down. Like a lot of times I end up with a bunch of stuff on my plate where I just like don't want to deal with. But I try to make it as fun as possible, and that way I can be more productive.
Well, at this point, we're coming up on an hour. Should we rapid fire some questions and then close this thing out?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. So just some quick things that I want to ask you. Right now, 2026, what do you feel like are some of the biggest opportunities for people regarding AI?
Let me think about this. I don't think there's a one size fits all solution for people with AI. The biggest thing I would do is see where you're at in life and use your unfair advantages to implement AI into it. Like if you are a great gardener, see how AI can help you with gardening, how you can bring your domain expertise of gardening into AI. So it really depends on where you're at in life, whether the skills you have, whether the connections you have, what advantage you have, and implement AI into that.
Are there any niche tools or just kind of interesting things that maybe the listener or myself wouldn't be aware of that you're like, please be aware of this thing going forward?
I like Notion. Notion has been really good. They've added some AI features on there. I think it's a good one to check out. Whisper is pretty great. We talked about it earlier, but that allows you to speak instead of type into your computer. Claude Code, Claude Cowork, all the Claude products are amazing. If you get a little deeper into it, check those out. And tools like Lovable and Bolt are great. Other than that, there's a lot of cool video creation tools out there that you could check out, like HeyGen for duplicating your AI clone, 11 Labs for duplicating your voice, and a bunch of other stuff out there. But those are like a few I'll throw out.
Let's say, because something that I've noticed is like most of these tools, if you want the best of the best, it's worth it to buy the subscription, the premium, whatever version of it. Someone's got, call it $100 a month that they can spend on AI tools. How would you break that apart?
Yeah, for $100, I wouldn't say AI tools. I think if you're trying to build something, a lot of the stuff you end up buying, like you need cloud storage. So you need to buy Google Drive storage. You need YouTube Premium to watch something 2 times faster. You need Canva for creating visuals, things like that. So a lot of it doesn't end up being AI tooling. But if you specifically are looking for AI tooling and you have $100, I would probably buy the Claude Max plan. because Claude is great, but the limits run out pretty quick on the $20 plan. The $100 plan is a lot nicer.
Last thing that I want to ask you, and that I plan to ask all the guests that come onto this podcast, is what's just one lesson that you've picked up over the past couple of years that you wish you had learned earlier in your life?
Yeah, I think it's the one that I said earlier. Just assume everything will work out. Have delusional optimism that you will achieve all of your goals. And it's kind of like shoot for the stars, land on the moon, or whatever they say. Even if it doesn't happen, you'll make it further than you would have if you had assumed a negative outcome.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the crazy thing is that is the reality of life, as unrealistic of a way of thinking it is.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I have a question for you too.
For sure. Let's do it.
Since it's the first podcast, what is this podcast gonna be about? What do you want? What is the audience that you plan to watch this?
Cool. So the big thing that I want to bring in with this is, I mean, I come from an engineering background, right? I got my bachelor's degree in chemical engineering. I went and pursued a master's in it. But to me, what I got out of that is not understanding fluid dynamics or knowing how to code or knowing how to do any of these technical skills. It's just developing this, quote unquote engineering mindset and really trying to engineer systems into my life, finding things that are tangible and practical that I can actually implement. And so I want to be sharing what I'm doing and what I'm learning. I mean, I'm learning things every single day. Like I said earlier, I'm not 45. It's not like I'm this grizzled old man who's been through the whole gauntlet. So my goal is just to share what I'm learning every single day. And then it's also to learn from other people, different experts in different fields, whether it's AI, engineering, it could be athletes, it could be adventure people, it could be musicians, creatives, artists, etc. And trying to learn practical, tangible things that they've got going on in their life. So that way they can say, at this time, this is what I do. Every single day I do X, Y, and Z. This is what I would recommend implementing. And so kind of like what we talked about today, I'm interested in what AI tools specifically should we be using? What does your day-to-day look like? What is your advice for people that are trying to look to do the same thing? And so my goal is just to build out this podcast as sort of a plethora of knowledge from different people, myself and all these other guests, and try to give as much value to as many people as I can. I think that's a big thing.
Awesome. Yeah, I love it. I'm excited. Thanks for having me on as the first guest, and I'm excited to see where you take it over the next. I know when you decide you're doing something, you stick to it, and you do ball. I'm really excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, well, my plan right now is I'll do one every, I don't know. I said one every 2 weeks because I told my girlfriend once a week, and then she said, you should do every 2 weeks in case something happens, but we'll see. I might do like 5 a week. No. Yeah, I mean, the goal is just to build it out over this next year and really improve and continue to provide as much value as we can. And hopefully, we can run this one back. I thought this was a ton of fun today and do some more stuff in the future, especially as you're seeing just new tools and things like that come into play.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. I'm excited.
Cool. Where can they find you? Where can they find all your stuff? AI Squads, yourself, and all the rest?
Yeah, it's Startup Sep, my personal channels, and then AISquads.org. You can search up and find out everything about us.
Awesome. And like I said, AI Squads is amazing. If anybody gets the chance, I know your guys' acceptance rate is kind of tough to get into. I think you said it was harder than UC Berkeley, right?
Yeah, our first cohort was harder than UC Berkeley to get in.
Nice. Yeah, but if you get the opportunity, take it for real.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, we're trying to expand to support a lot more people, so hopefully it'll be easier to get into the program. If you're passionate about it and you let us know, like, I really want to be a part of this, we'll get you in. Yeah, awesome. Cool. Well, Sepehr, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time. It's probably the most valuable resource you can give anybody. So appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, Alex. Cool. Thanks.